Hello my friends, we're going to start a new quick and easy project. Picked up some cabinet doors from somebody. They actually were really good shape, so really didn't take much to do them. I actually used the opposite side of the cabinet. They weren't finished, so it was just raw wood, which was a plus, but you can buy cabinet doors just about anywhere or pick them up fairly inexpensive. So I took my tissue paper and I'm taking a paintbrush dipped in water and I'm going to do a rough edge. That way, when I do lay it down, you will not see the seams. If you were to just leave it be square, you would probably see the seams. It helps when it's kind of jiggy. So I'm going to just put down some white paint on my cabinet door. This is going to help the tissue paper really shine through. If you don't paint behind your image in white, your tissue will not show up as well as it could. So I'm going to take some Decoupage medium, and for this I am using the best stuff I've ever found, which is a product by Dixie Belle. It's called Dixie Belle Satin Clear Coat. It's a fabulous thicker clear coat. I have many clear coats that I sell, but this is the best one for decoupage. I don't like it to steal my pieces of furniture, but I love it for decoupage because it has a really good open time, meaning it doesn't dry super fast. You can reposition, you can redo, you can do all the fun things. Now what happened was this piece is that I had to go out and help a customer. So I started this and about 10 minutes later I came back. Well, it had gotten a little dry around the edges, so I did have to go back, lift the paper a little bit, it was still fine in the middle, and apply some more of the satin clear coat to the cabinet, which is fine. It worked well, and I'm just going to push down that paper into that groove and just make it be a seamless little thing. And then I'm going to go over the whole entire top with an entire coat of the satin clear coat and just make sure that I get it really well glued and adhered down. You're going to take your satin clear coat and go over the entire top of the image. This will seal it and help just make it beautiful, and you won't ever have to do anything else to it ever again. So we're just going to go over the entire image. This will seal it. It'll be a little opaque for about a half an hour. Then it will dry super clear and be very durable for our next step, which will be applying some paint to this door. This is such a gorgeous image. So I pulled a bunch of bright colors. The colors I chose were Cobalt. These were all from Dixie Belle. Haint Blue. What's the purple one? Amethyst. And then I pulled Peony from Dixie Belle. I am just using a tapping method. I am kind of dipping my paintbrush in a couple of the paints at the same time. The Haint Blue, the Peony, I am not switching out my brush. I am just kind of tapping it. The whole idea behind this is to make the tissue paper just seem like it's not tissue paper, right? Like it's a hand-painted picture. What I'm doing is just taking similar colors from within the tissue paper and expanding them out. What I did here was I used paint on my paintbrush, tap, and then what I did is I took another brush that had not been dipped in paint, just a dry paintbrush, and I then used it to swirl all the colors together. You'll get a better view here in a minute. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that the camera wasn't up high enough to grab this, but in just a minute or two, you'll see it much better when we go around the lower half. When I blend colors on a picture or something like this, it doesn't have to be exact, you guys. I am just using similar hues that are in the purple from the breast of the hummingbird, the pinks from the flower. I'm not trying to make them match exactly. I am just trying to make them coordinate, and then I'm taking that dry brush and I am just kind of blending all those together. What it does is it gives it a super soft, smooth effect, and instead of it looking tap-tappy, it then looks like it's totally blended. It's a super easy and fun way to get a very professional finished look. Now this is such an easy, inexpensive project. The paint, the clear coat, of course I have all this stuff on hand, but it's just a great way. This would be a great gift, somebody's birthday, Christmas present, you know, art for your home. you can, instead of being a slave to what's just available, you can make your own art. This is an old wooden cabinet door. You guys, you can find these all over the place at a thrift store or like a Habitat for Humanity type of store. A lot of cabinet shops will give them to you because if they mess up, they don't know what to do. That is a dry brush. No paint is on it. I will then just blot it out basically and swirl it around. And what that does is it blends all those colors together. I will keep wiping off that brush just like that to keep it as a clean brush. There's hardly any paint on it. I will not dip that brush ever in paint. I'm using two brushes, one to apply the paint and one to blend it. Does that make sense? So this one right here has no paint on it other than what I'm picking up off the surface. And what that does is allows it to have a really soft blended finish. Do you see how the purple is just making this picture pop? It's not the exact same color. It really isn't, but it is helping. So I noticed that there was a little bit of like a tan buttercream kind of color at the top. So I did grab some buttercream by Dixie Belle. Like I said, these happen to be all Dixie Belle colors that I'm using. And the amount of paint that I'm putting on my brush is just minute. Like I am just taking the corner of my brush and just adding a little paint at a time, not a bunch. And I'm just tapping it on. That way I can get it more deliberate in the areas that I'm taking the brush that doesn't have paint on it, and I am just swirling it together. That's an easy way to start learning how to blend. I'm not having to use water. When I'm doing this, it's in December. I'm in Idaho. It's very cold and dry. And if you live in a more humid climate, you probably don't need water at all because you've got so much moisture in the air. There was a couple times that I thought I might need to spray it a little bit, but I really never did have to. And if I did, I would just use a fine mist sprayer, add a little bit of water, not a lot, and go over the top. Now, if for some reason you get paint, I'm painting right over the top of the tissue paper on the edges. Can you guys tell me where it starts and ends? You probably can't. This is the dry brush again. So the great thing about having the top coat over the top of the tissue paper with the Dixie Belle Satin Clear Coat is the fact that it will wipe right off if we were to get paint on the image, which I did, like a little bit too much. It's supposed to just kind of fade in the picture, right? You can't tell where it starts and stops. And I literally did this in probably about 20 minutes time. This project was so quick and so easy and so much fun. And so seriously beautiful, like stunningly beautiful, unique, and different. And that's what I want to create, is always something one of a kind, super unique, and super different, where you guys can just take scraps of things that you have, tissue paper, napkins, posters, it'll all work. The thicker your paper, though, of course, the more you have to work with it. But tissue paper is the perfect medium to put down on any kind of surface. Add satin clear coat over the top and then blend the edges. And next thing you know, you have a one-of-a-kind piece of art that anybody would be proud to display in their home, their office, anywhere. I love hummingbirds because they do remind me of my mother. That was one of her most favorite birds. I remember when I was a kid, she used to have about 7 of those liter jugs, empty jugs from like the soda. And she had hummingbird feeders, and she would have hundreds of hummingbirds. We lived in California at the time, and she would have so many. It's just, she was the crazy hummingbird lady. She would fill them up once a day. They went through so much sugar that one summer, but she just loved it. She stood outside and they would land on her. It was so fun. So they have a very special part of my heart, because every time I see a hummingbird, I think of my mom. You guys, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe. Appreciate you. Go.